think I just got tired of the like, what if? The moment that it hit me, I was driving home talking to my mom, just like feeling like I felt for years. Like, and what I said to her was, if this is all that's meant for my life, I feel like I'm wasting mine. And it just clicked. I'm like, being an entrepreneur isn't an option. It's the only option.
Welcome to Truejectory, the podcast committed to helping you step into your true path, your purpose work. There is nothing better than being able to do what you love every single day and to get paid for it. I lived many years of my life working jobs that didn't align with me, and I know how rough that feels. I want to see as many people as possible stepping into the work that truly lights their soul on fire. This is your space to come and be reminded that you can create the life that you're dreaming of and to learn exactly how to do it. This is your space to be inspired by those who have been bold enough to follow their passions and have created their dream life because of it. If you're ready to stop playing small, stop holding yourself back, and start aligning with your trajectory, let's do it. Alrighty, we have the beautiful Jess Kwasny in the studio today. Thank you so much for being here with me today, Jess. You're a legend, all the way from Canada. How you doing?
I am so good. I'm so freaking excited to be here with you. Like, the energy is just, we're going.
I know. I got to calm my smile down. My cheeks are hurting already. So for everyone listening, Jess is a business coach. She is a mindset mentor. She's also an EFT practitioner. And we're going to dive into all of those topics because there are so many people who are jumping online these days who are realizing, holy shit, I can actually make the life of my dreams creating a business online. And it's people like Jess that are really like guiding people through these parts, because I mean, I know for myself, I'm only just at the beginning of my journey doing the same thing, and I'm like, coach after coach after coach, come here, help me, hold my hand. So thank you for what you do, and I am so grateful to have you on because I just love your energy, I love your messages, I love the way you speak to your audience, and I really want my audience to be able to hear the things that you have created for yourself by literally following your heart, following your intuition, and how real you are. That's what I really like about you. You're just like, you're real as fuck, girl. So, hi.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
It's all good. It's hard to be real these days. Hey, it's like, that's like a challenge in itself. That's such an accomplishment. I think that's what we're all striving for, but we don't realize how far we've strayed from who we really are.
Oh, 100%. I feel like I've been having, actually, funnily enough that you're bringing this up, I've been having this conversation with so many people. Like, I know in the last couple of weeks, I don't know if you've been experiencing it, but it's been like a mental shitstorm. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? Like, okay, we're prepared, but we're not prepared. And I've been sharing that, and I don't share it for sympathy, but I share it to be like, no, I get it. I know what you're going through. And I've had so many people reach out and be like, thanks for sharing that, because you make us feel like we're not alone. And I think what social media has taught us is a great way to put on this facade and act like everything's all good when it's not. And then we realize why we can't relate to people. It's like, we're not relating to the experience it is of being a human, and being a human is messy as fuck.
Yeah, seriously. Oh. It's so true. I definitely do want to dive into that. I think we were having a brief chat about that on DMs, what are they called? Voice memos the other day. And it was like, you're feeling this too. I'm feeling this too. Yeah. It's like, yeah, our authentic sides are coming out going, you've got to be me now. You've got to just be yourself. But before we dive into that, because I know we're going to go deep in this one, I have so many things I want to talk to you about. So can you just give the audience a bit of a rundown of what you do? So what does your week generally look like? So the purpose of this podcast is to show people who might be sitting in a 9-to-5 that they absolutely hate, that there are people like yourself who have been there, who have gone, you know what, I'm going to back myself, I'm going to take those leaps of faith and I'm going to do it. And this is what my life now looks like. And so give us a bit of a rundown. Like, what does your life look like right now? What do you do?
I would love to. So, like a day in the life of, is that what we want?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And I mean, so, I say a day, but you could also say a week because I know you've got so many things you do. So it could be like, you know, in general, it's varied. So yeah, give us the rundown.
We'll actually laugh because I am such a creature of habit. Like, I love my routine. I really, really do. But we are not in the 5 a.m. We're not even the 6 a.m. club here. We don't do that here. I'm like a 7:30, roll out of bed. I also love my mornings. I know one thing for me, when I was in corporate, I was one of those people who were persons. What's English? I was one of those people who set my alarm for the last possible second, rolled out of bed, minimal, like I don't even think I did my makeup. Hair wasn't a mess, but I was just not one of those people who was taking time to get ready in the morning. Breakfast was something that I could eat at my desk. So I honestly love the feeling of being able to wake up and have a slow morning. So I wake up, read for a little bit, I'll take the dogs for a walk. And actually, funnily enough, I've started getting into doing my makeup again. For me, it just feels so, I don't know if therapeutics, it just feels so grounding to take time in the morning to do it and actually like put myself together. Not that I'm not put together other times. It just feels so good. Then
Yeah.
make breakfast, watch a little bit of Netflix at the kitchen counter making as I eat breakfast, and then my day starts at like 10 a.m. And one thing that I'm
Amazing.
starting to really focus on working on now is getting myself to a 4 hour work day, which for the longest time I would hear entrepreneurs say how they have a 3 hour work day, 4 hour, whatever. I'm like, yeah, fucking right. Like,
Mm.
how? And the coolest thing about this is, well, coolest, but also challenging part is I recognize moving to this structure how much time I wasted. Like, I would
Mm.
allow so much stuff to distract me, or I'd spend time like busy work or scrolling. I'm like, okay. And to be completely honest, I could probably get all my stuff done in a 3 hour day, but we don't. So
Yeah.
I typically work from 10 till 2, and then at 2 p.m., I drive to the gym. I'll go and work out. I lift weights 4 days a week, so I do usually do that Monday, Tuesday, take Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, and then I have come back. And if I do feel like working, I will, because sometimes, when you're just in a flow and you're like, I feel really excited to get into Voxer or to get into client office hours or whatever the case may be. So I go with that. I'm very
Hmm.
much, I lead by what feels exciting for me to do. And one thing that's really, really helped me as well too, Sarah, is I used to be the type of person who I would have every day mapped out for what I had to get done that day. And I've really taken those constructs off of me and focus more so on a weekly basis, because I would find myself where if I had something scheduled for the day, but then I woke up that day, I'm like, I have no energy or desire to do this. Like old
Yes.
me, like starting the business me, would force myself to do it, and then it would take me 10 times longer to actually do the thing. And funnily enough, when I've fit things into a weekly basis, I not only get everything that I want planned, but I often have pockets of time that free up where I'm like, oh, I can work on this extra thing now. So that's something that's really, really helped. But yeah, literally Monday to Friday, you will see me wake up in the morning 7:30, slow morning 10 to 2, go to the gym, come home, walk the dogs, and then spend time with the hubby. But that's what my week looks like.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so beautiful. And I love that you just tapped onto that new way of doing things, new way of working, which is listening to how you feel, right? Like letting your body lead rather than your head. But I love, like you said, there's got to be a balance, right? You can't necessarily do that every single day. You might find, you've got these things that you need to do in a week, and, up to the fourth day of the week, you're like, I'm still not feeling it. What's going on? So you got to like look at it. But I love that you've given yourself a week. You go, here are all the things I need to do within this week. And even though I planned it Monday, I've woken up Monday feeling like crap, or, I'm feeling like really energized to do this other thing, and allowing that for ourselves. Like that's pure flow, right? That's like what we're here to do. We've just been working against that for so long, not knowing that that's so abnormal, and then wondering why we're burnt out or not passionate about things. And I mean,
Yep.
oh my gosh, this is why I love talking to people who are creating their own businesses, because they're creating the lifestyle that they want. And that's all we want at the end of the day, right? Like we want
Mhm.
our work to support the lifestyle that we want. So where does EFT fit into this? And can you explain that a little bit for me? So is that emotional freedom technique? Is that what it stands for?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
yeah,
haven't
it
really
absolutely
looked
is.
into it too much. So can you tell me a little bit about that and how that fits into your work with your clients?
Yeah, for sure. So EFT, like you said, emotional freedom technique tapping. And what it works is you actually tap on meridian points inside of the body. So it is kind of a modality of talk therapy, but it also combines, I think it's like 28 other modalities within it. I can't, like, off the top of my head, I don't know all of them to name. But what I love about it is, for me personally, I purely sought it out for myself because I was someone who was going to traditional therapy And not saying anything against it, it works great for some people. It didn't work great for me. Even when I found a practitioner who I really loved and got along great with, I found that every time I left a session, I always felt heavier than when I came in. And I was like, oh, like, and that's one thing that I found with traditional therapy. Again, nothing against it. If it works for you, fucking phenomenal. But it often, because we go back and talk about the same patterns and the same events, and we're oftentimes re-traumatizing ourselves in the process as we talk about it, but then there's no way that we process those emotions. And so what ends up happening, and again, like, your subconscious can't tell the difference between a real or perceived threat, but oftentimes when you are talking about it, you take yourself back to being in that threat that makes it feel like you're reliving it all over again. What I love about EFT is, as you're tapping on the meridian points in the body, what that does is it sends this calming signal to your nervous system, where it doesn't feel, you're getting that relief where you're telling your nervous system, okay, it's safe for me to go here. But the beautiful thing I love about it is, if something feels really, really big for you, we don't have to talk about the event. You can literally talk about this situation that I have that's coming up. We can label it a certain name without you ever needing to go back into it and talking around it, which I know doesn't really make sense, but you can reference it and still move and have clarity and like move some of that energy out of you. So it's like one of the safest modalities that I've found. And so that was very long-winded, but how I use that inside what I do is, I have EFT videos in all of my programs that address different topics, so like confidence, signing clients, calling in money, working through different limiting beliefs. And then with all of my one-to-one clients, they have EFT sessions included in it, and then I just do one-off EFT packages as well too. So I've just found it is one of the safest and fastest, most effective ways to like move through a lot of uncomfortable energy. But the beautiful thing is too, it works a lot for all of the like emotions, trauma, stuck and stagnant energy, fears, doubts, beliefs. But on the other side, it can work on all the positive things and what you do want to call in. And it's just like reaffirming and rewiring. There we go. Thank you. Into what it is that you really want to start embodying. So I just love it. I'm obsessed with it. You can't tell.
No, I love that. That's beautiful. I got to look into it more, because I definitely feel you with the talk therapy. I've not found it work for me. I know many people still to this day are like, I love it. I have the best therapist. I'm like, that's fantastic for you. But especially, like you said, to be talking about something, reliving it, triggering everything, bringing it all to the surface, and then, whoop, your time's up. You got to go home now. That to me is like, that doesn't work for me. Like, I need to be sitting with a practitioner who's going to help me, give me some solutions within that session that also I can take away home with me. So I love that about EFT, is you're teaching people how they can do that for themselves and they're healing themselves. Beautiful. Yeah. So how long, and you did a post recently, which I absolutely loved. I'm probably going to paraphrase this horribly, but it was it was along the lines of, it didn't happen overnight for me. Like, I might only have this amount of clients, but do you know the post I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, it's like, I may not make $1 million in my business.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. Yeah. And there were so many points in that I absolutely loved. So I want to know, like, how long it's taken you to get where you are. And yeah, touching onto that post a little bit, because that was just brilliant. It was like really highlighting, because I think a lot of people, they see their business coach who's been doing it for quite a while, stepping in, going, well, 3 months in, why aren't I doing this? Why aren't I working 3-hour days? What am I doing wrong? And then judging themselves, and then lower vibe, and then all the backward motion. You know what I mean? So that post was really empowering for me to see. So yeah, can you tell us a bit about that post and how long it took you to get where you are?
Yeah, for sure I can. So the post really stemmed from the fact that, I don't know about you, but a few years ago, it felt like the whole goal and what people were talking about was a 10K month. And I've talked about this a lot last year, where it feels like the 10K month has now seemingly overnight gone to 100K months. And we're like, motherfucker, I'm just trying to get to 100K a year, and everybody's having these 100K months. Now, don't get me wrong. That's the goal. That's where I want to be. I'm going to be a self-made millionaire. But it's also like discrediting what I have built. So for me, I believe it'll be this September that I'll be 7 years in business. Amazing. And for those first 3 years, I was also working my corporate job. So it was September 2021 that I went full time into my business. And I have been consistently at over six figures, and it's ranged anywhere from like literally 106 to I think my best so far was like 148 or 152, right around there, for the last 3 years. And the like, I'm somebody who is super ambitious, and I find myself falling into that trap. Like, okay, well, I see other people have these businesses, and I see them quote unquote like take off, and it's like, why am I not there yet? And it's like really just coming back into it, like I can have that, and that does get to happen for me. And I don't know everybody else's story, but it seems like people are building these big fucking businesses in what feels like overnight, or they've been doing it for 2 years. I'm like, okay, we just need to like, it's being shown to you to for you to know that you can have it. My timeline just might look a little bit different. And like that post showed, yeah, I don't have $1 million business, but like I deliver $1 million service. And I've heard from a lot of people who've worked with these big flashy coaches that they're not saying that's the case for everyone, but they're often left very disappointed with what they do get out of it. And they're like, what? And lots of people are leading by their name or their lifestyle and delivering a half-ass client experience. I'm like, no, I'm here for how do I impact you, and income is the byproduct.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And I think that's such an important point. That is something I'm seeing as well. It's a trend where there are a few people who are really, they're making big bank, and that's amazing for them. That's their journey. But it is almost like a trend that people are like, well, I want to jump on this because that person's making so much money. So they are leveraging their lifestyle and the things that they're doing, the money they're making, which again, that's something that you would probably do if you're at that point. But like you said, the most important thing has got to be service. You've got to have your values in order. You've got to have what it is you're here to do and be so aligned with that mission, that authenticity, which is, we're coming back to the authenticity piece, because this is the missing piece, right? This is the gold. But yeah, it's so true. And I've even had experiences where I've sort of gotten sucked into certain, masterminds and things like that, where I thought, well, because of this, because I see this person has this, they must be giving amazing value. And I've left going, wow, someone that's charging a quarter of the price has given me 10,000 times more value, and things that I can take away and things that I can continue to use. And it's really opened my eyes to go, okay, yeah, it does come down to each individual person and what value they're giving. So while we're sort of on this piece now, before we jump into the authenticity boat, is there anything that you would have done differently for others to be aware of, just in your 7 years of coming up into this beautiful lifestyle that you have now?
So the biggest thing for me, and I think there's something to be said when you're starting your business, definitely following not a copy and paste strategy, but like following suggestions from other mentors, because it's one thing, like how you start your business versus how you scale is going to be complete, like worlds fucking difference, because you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So there is something to be said for, hey, try this way, because this is like, nothing's tried and true, but like if you follow these, then this kind of works. But then after you get out of that stage, I say this all the time, there's only one way to build your business, and it's your way. Yes. Truthfully, at the end of the day, what you believe is going to work for you in business, what you believe is going to work for you in business is what's going to work. It's the same reason why, for me, you've been following me long enough, you know that this whole genuine DMs or building relationships just to pitch, hard fucking no. No, we don't do that. I hate that. It's just send me the cold DM so I can ignore it instead of wasting my time trying to build an inauthentic relationship that you're trying to convince yourself is authentic, okay? I'll go on a rant on that on another day. But
I love that. I so feel you on that. Yeah.
Where I'm going with this is there's some people who build businesses off of that, either sending cold DMs or sending genuine DMs, and they love it and they believe it's going to work for them, so that's what does. It's the same reason why I don't have to do that, and I build my business the way I do, because it does. Like, any strategy works. It's what you believe to work that will work. So like I said with that, like once you're starting to feel maybe resistance for certain areas or ways in which you're showing up in your business, it's probably a good indication that you've outgrown that, or you're desiring to do it another way. Give yourself permission to do that. The sooner you do that, the quicker your business will go, truthfully. And it'll feel like, whoa, but like, this isn't how I was taught to do it. That's okay. Like, all of us don't really know what we're doing until you do it. You're like, oh, okay, that actually does work. Can you just keep doing it?
It's so true.
The other thing that I would really focus on is clarity. And I mean clarity from an ideal client standpoint, from a psychographic standpoint, understanding who you serve, what you want to be known for, and the offers that you provide. Because I think there's this not misconception, but I think it's drilled into our heads like, you just need to be consistent, you just need to be consistent. Being consistent is just bad business advice, because consistency looks different for everybody. Everybody, based on where you're at in your business, the team that you have or don't have, the time that you can dedicate to it. So when you can get super, super clear in your messaging and who you serve and what you stand for, that's how you really start to build this brand. And a brand is what makes you one in a million, truthfully.
That's fantastic advice. And I mean, just for myself personally, it really like calms me down knowing, that you know all of the things you do, you work with a lot of people, and you've been through these routes, these traps. I have found, because like I said, I'm just at the start of my journey when starting my own sort of business. And exactly like you're saying, I started to find that you do need to mimic at the start a little bit, because you've got nothing to base it off originally. So you start, doing what you're told to do, and then I found just so quickly that I'm losing my personality. I'm posting these things, I'm doing all the things I'm told, and it's not feeling like me. And I look back and I go, wow, when I look at my Instagram over the last year, no one would even know that I'm into music. No one would even know that I love rap. Like, how random. That's such a huge part of my core values, my personality, like the things that I love. And however that looks, it's got to be wrapped up into my business somehow, because it's such a huge part of me, like my music. And when I realized, wow, there's a whole part of me that I've just cut off to try and do it the right way because I think that it's right. Like you're saying, it's, for each person, it's going to be different. So you've got to figure out what it is that works for you, because at the end of the day, you're building a lifestyle that you want, that works for you, that isn't necessarily the same lifestyle that your business coach has, So I love that you, as a business coach, are really reinforcing that for your clients, going, here, I'm here as a guiding light and I will show you what's worked for me. But really, get your own shit in order. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen in time. You probably don't say it so harshly. But
no, I actually didn't. That would absolutely be something. Sorry, I'm just gonna put this on Do Not Disturb. It's funny that you say that though, because in all of my programs, I basically say it's kind of like a la carte. I'll show you all the ways that you can do it. I'm never going to tell you how to do it. I'm gonna lay it out for you, and you're gonna pick and choose what feels good to you.
Yes, I love that. I think that's so important. So we're tapping into a little bit around, you're saying beliefs, right? And I mean, this is such a huge part of it. So we're only just coming to this point in humanity, I think, where we're finally understanding how important belief is, how important the subconscious mind is in your reality and what you're telling it and your thoughts. And we're on autopilot so much of the time we don't even think about what we're thinking about. Most people aren't even thinking. They're just replaying old recycled, programs. So How much of your success do you think is based around mindset? And was there a moment where you sort of shifted and went, whoa, I have not been thinking or using my subconscious mind. I'm going to start using it now. Was there a point where that kicked in for you?
I would say all the success is on mindset. It really is, right? Yep. Because like you said, isn't it by the time where you're 35 95% of your thoughts, actions, patterns, you're basically, for lack of a better term, you're a fucking robot.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we don't realize that, but I would say, and I would say now I'm moving into this even more, because I've been doing the work, right? I've been doing a lot of the shadow work and everything like that. But I found for me, and actually I think this shifted massively about a year and a half ago. Because when I think lots of us, when we get into doing working with the subconscious, it's from understanding that programs, how we've been conditioned, limiting beliefs, all that kind of stuff. And so we naturally go into the shadow work, and it's okay, what is this? Where did it come from? I want to know all these things so I can erase it, rewrite it, and go on, right? Mm-hmm. Where I was finding myself, and I'm not saying anything against shadow work. I love shadow work. Mm-hmm. It plays a really, really important role. I was finding myself, because I was in that, whenever something would come up, a thought, a pattern that I was repeating, a toxic cycle, whatever it may be, something that I couldn't break out of, is I would go into fixing mode, because it's well, this is happening because I'm doing something wrong. And the thing is, when you want to go and find something to fix, you're going to find a lot of shit to fix. So it's not that anything needed to be fixed. I just learned that stuff needed to be held. And so I switched more out of, and it's I came up with this little statement. It's like, when it's meant to be healed, it will be revealed. So rather than me going to try and like, oh, well, where's this coming from? And where's this coming from? And like, why am I still stuck in here? I would just like make a mountain out of a molehill unconsciously and then have this big shitstorm to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've more so switched to focusing on, okay, like what is it that I do desire to have and achieve and all these types of stuff. And then again, recognizing, okay, when something's like really meant for me to let go of it, I don't have to find it. It's going to come up to me because I'm going to create enough safety within myself, within all of my parts, for it to be like, okay, here, I'm ready to show this part of you that was created out of safety. I just want to come along for the ride, but let's let go of this behavior and let's change that. And then more recently, the epiphany that I've had is this whole, like, I'm not a huge person for affirmations or mantras or anything because half the affirmations that we tell ourselves, we don't actually believe. And if you're just, like, if you're trying to convince yourself of it, you're already resisting it, right? But I was having this conversation actually this week, and one that I've really been playing with is you get what you expect. And so when you say that, it's like, if I get what I expect, what do I expect? You're never naturally going to go, oh, well, I expect that my business is going to be hard. I'm not going to sign clients. I'm not going to make the money that I want. No, you're going to go like, well, what do I expect? I expect that I'm going to make this amount of money. I expect that people are going to show up, find me, follow me, and want to buy from me. I expect that when I put something out to sell, people are going to come buy. I expect that I get to wake up to sales every single day. And it's just like, even as I say that, I'm getting full body goosebumps because it's just, you're never gonna want to expect the worst for yourself.
Yeah.
Naturally, your subconscious is going to want to protect you from that. But this like opens you up to the possibility like, oh, okay, well, if I get what I expect, then this, please.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, that's something that's been coming up in my studies a lot lately is the expectation, the healthy expectation. And it's sort of like a combination of repetition, faith, and expectation, and just going exactly like you're saying, just really sort of reprogramming that. But I love that you brought up the affirmation side because, I mean, they work for some people and that's fantastic. But at the end of the day, they're just a tool to reprogram your subconscious mind and to believe these things are true. So if you're saying something, if you're in a state of complete poverty and you're really struggling and you're saying to yourself, I am the richest person alive, and you don't believe yourself, like you said, you're working against yourself. So it's actually not helping you at all. But I really love the state that you're in, like you're saying that you are sort of getting to this point of surrender and trusting. You're like allowing things to happen. When things need to come up and be healed, they will be shown to you. And having that faith in yourself and that belief, again, it all comes back to belief and knowing, like that's just you going, I'm so confident that my higher self, my subconscious, whatever you want to call it, the spirit in me has got me. And when things are meant to be shown, they will come up to be revealed. And I think that's definitely when a lot of people first wake up. And I love working with people who are just starting to wake up spiritually because I woke up quite late in my life. And when I did, like you, I just wanted shadow work. I wanted to fix everything. I was like, well, in my mind, the rate I'm at 5 years from now, I'll be completely perfect. I will be enlightened. I will be a fully realized being, like a ascended master type style. I'm like, oh my gosh. When I look at that now, I'm like, you are so cute, younger Sarah. Oh my gosh. And I think people really just do start, because it's the floodgates open, right? You start to realize, oh my God, I've been doing all these things wrong. And you can blame yourself when the truth is, it's the system that has created these patterns in us. But also I like to look at it as a positive. I like to imagine us all as the main character of our own movie. And if we didn't have a challenge to overcome, how boring would that movie be? And our programming is the beautiful challenge. It's different for each of us. We've all been given different programming by our mentors, our families, our society, whatever. And so we each have these different systems that we've got to break out of. But I really do believe I've come to the same conclusion as you, that it's the letting go rather than the pushing and the running and the racing and the forcing. It's the surrender and non-resistance and just trusting and going. And you can talk to your subconscious mind and go, hey, mate, I would like you to focus on this for me this week. Bring me the answers. Yeah. And, then you can go back to the freaking the Bible where Yeshua, Jesus, was always saying, ask and you shall receive. He was always talking about the power of the subconscious mind and the things that we can do if we just believe. So it's such an incredible journey. But when it comes to manifesting, the one thing that I love to talk about with people is the fact of, and I'm going to assume most of the audience has sort of, because I've spoken about this with a few people, we don't need to go into the deep mechanics of it. But the thing is, when it comes to manifesting, you got to let go of the how. So you've got to have this thing that you want. You've got to have the faith in it, and you've got to stop saying, yeah, but how? Because that's the thing that sort of trips us up. So for you and your experience, how have you gone with that? Like what's that journey been like when you're letting go of even thinking about how these things are going to come into fruition and just trusting?
That's been the like hardest part for me because I naturally am a control freak and want to know everything. Yeah, it's like the when and how is none of your business, and it's just holding the vision. And that's been the biggest thing for me is like if I could just play in my desires, if I'm not wrong or bad for everything that I want, it's just like focusing on, okay, like what is it that I get to create and desire to create, and more so like it's the feeling that it's not the thing that we want. We think it's the thing that's going to get us what we want, but it's actually the feeling. So that's what I come back to is like, okay, what do I want this to feel in my body? Like when I have a 20K day, when I have a 100K month, when I get to there, like how can I put that into my body? And then once I have that in my body, how can I send that out to every single cell in my body? And once it's there and I can hold that excitement there, how can I amplify that by 10? And once I have that amplified by 10, how can I push it out even more? Because again, subconscious can't tell the difference between what's real and what's perceived. So when you're doing that, you're already activating the timeline and anchoring the person and that version of you who already has it. So it's more so, how can you give yourself that feeling now? And you'll likely experience little glimpses of it in your day-to-day where you're like, ooh, this feels really good. Like fucking hold on to that feeling because you're telling your body, you're like, I like the way this feels, more please.
Yep. Oh, that's so beautiful. So spot on. So do you have any like daily habits, rituals, or non-negotiables that you do to really keep you aligned with the vision that you're moving towards? How do you like reinforce it daily?
I think that looks different on day to day because I found myself personally, and this is just going to be like me tangenting, which we talked about with you.
Love it.
Here, go here, end up back here. I know we're told like read 10 pages a day and journal and meditate and da 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 da. And I definitely found myself falling into, I almost want to say a routine where I was doing things just to check it off because some 7-figure mentor told me that I had to do that. So I'm like, check, check, check. And the intention wasn't there, right? So I wasn't being present with it. And I was more so going through the motions to do it, but it really wasn't doing anything. And so I love more of a ritual perspective. So sometimes for me, this will look like a meditation, or it'll look like me journaling, or I will sit down and I have like a 6 or 7 figure self Canva presentation, or on Pinterest, I have an entire Pinterest vision board. So I'll go and like look at that, or I'll do a hypnosis. Like it's literally, when I wake up, I'm like, okay, how do I want to pour into me today, and what feels good to bring me to that next self, if that makes sense. So I know it's not structured, but it's like, what would feel exciting for me to tap into my highest self, and how does she want to be?
Yeah.
Almost like, what's the word? I lost the word.
Honored?
Praise today. Praise isn't. Yeah, honored. There you go. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. But I love it. Again, it sounds, I mean, yeah, it's, again, you're coming back so much to your authentic nature and what you are desiring, rather than, I've definitely done the same thing where I've written, someone said 55 affirmations a day for 5 days, or 105 or something like that. And I'm just sitting there writing them going, trying to stay positive because this is a pain in the ass, trying to stay positive because this is a pain in the ass. What am I manifesting while I'm doing that? Like, that's insane. And like you, I have different feelings every day. Some days I want to watch a manifestation movie that I've created, and some days I want to visualize, I want to sit down. But again, we're dropping the control and the borders and the barriers that we've all held, and the need to do what others are doing. I think that's such a huge point. That doesn't mean that we don't need guides and we don't need assistance from other people to sort of go, here's an example of what I do now, feel into your own sort of space and what you want. But just giving yourself the permission, like the trust, the faith, it all comes back to just trusting, surrendering, letting go, and just allowing your true self to come to the surface. So with this new whole authenticity vibe, and this is what I hit you up about the other day, I was like, are you feeling this? I'm like, I just suddenly, it like hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was like, 1, like I said, I felt like I'd lost my personality and identity. 2, I felt like everything I was posting was like everyone else. And I totally understand that a lot of us are saying the same thing. And I think that's beautiful, because a lot of us are waking up spiritually. A lot of us are realizing our innate power, that we've been doing things in a, counterintuitive way, and we're all sort of waking up and we're helping each other wake up. So it's a beautiful thing. It's not that I don't want to say similar things to people, because I mean, everything's already been said, right? We're always just recycling the same wisdom. But I just felt like everything was so cookie cutter all of a sudden, and it made me want to just like go away from socials for a while again. Like I had a 2-year break a while ago, and I'm almost like, I don't need that long, but I'm like, I need at least a week to just recalibrate. So yeah, what's going on with you? Do you feel that?
I do. Yeah, we've been talking about this, and it's just for me how it's showing up, and it's actually funnily enough been showing up for like, I want to say like the better part of 2 months, but I shouldn't say it's been happening that entire time. But for me, I've been feeling like it's a lack of excitement, and I haven't been able to pinpoint where it's at, because I get, and I said this to you in the DMs as well too, like I'm so excited when I'm on my client calls or when I'm in Voxer, like that gives me energy, but it's like I'm missing this excitement for my business. And I don't know if that's like I'm going to completely shift or change how I'm doing something, but it feels like there's this piece missing. I'm not doing anything wrong. I have this like steady foundation and baseline, but it's just like something's there and I can't put my finger on it. But I get what you're saying, how it feels like, yeah, everybody's posting and saying the same thing or posting the same way. And actually what I've decided to do is I've actually done this for the past, I started an experiment on March 1st. So I was going to do it for 15 days and see, like, I don't look at anybody's posts. I don't. I go onto social media and I make my post. I talk to people in the DMs. I do a little bit of community engagement. But other than that, I have no idea what anybody else is posting. Yeah. Fucking funnily enough, on Monday, actually just 2 days ago, I ended up writing like a week and a half of content in like 2 hours. So that's something to be said for it. But yeah, I feel this, and we've had this, like, I can't explain it. I don't know what it is. I feel like something's coming. But for me, it's shown up as this lack of excitement, which is weird because it absolutely is not a lack of excitement for what I do or who I support. Not at all. But it's just weird when you're a creative being and you feel like,
something stopped.
Okay, anytime now.
Yeah, it's so true. That's what it was really. It was like, I think I said that to you. It feels like the old me has gone. Like she's sort of just, she's had her time. She's done now. But the new me hasn't quite kicked in. So I'm in like this limbo phase where I'm like, I feel like something big's about to happen. Like I'm going to burst into like my authentic self. It's like I have no choice anymore. She's just calling for me, going, get over here, woman. Get over here. Stop pretending. Stop anything. Just be here. But I haven't quite stepped into that yet. So I'm really excited. I have no idea. Like we might look back at this chat in a few months and go, hey, that was when, you know.
What we were talking about?
Yeah, exactly. But I would love to know, you actually tapped onto clarity a little bit earlier, but I always like to ask my guests, the 3 C's before we get on to our final 3 questions. I always want to know about the 3 C's. And for me, when you've created a life like yourself, something that you've been longing for, and now you've created the lifestyle that you love, 3 core parts of this to me are confidence, consistency, and clarity. And I love to know how people, and even when we talk about consistency, your consistency obviously looks very different to other people, but how do you, let's go one at a time. So start with confidence. What was it that gave you the confidence to really back yourself and step into this life that you have now?
I think I just got tired of the like, what if? I really do. Like, I think I just got tired of not necessarily giving up on myself, but it's like life is too fucking short. Like, if I don't do this, nobody else is going to do this for me. Mm-hmm. And it was just saying, like, you can look back and say, so many people say, like, well, what if? Instead of, like, I did it, right? Like, it will always be hard. Like, I could go back to corporate if I wanted to, and I could sit there and I could work I don't mean a dead-end job, but it really came to me when, and I think I did a post about this not that long ago, but the moment that it hit me, I was driving home talking to my mom, just like feeling like I've felt for years. Like, and what I said to her was, if this is all that's meant for my life, I feel like I am wasting mine. And it just clicked. I'm like, being an entrepreneur isn't an option. It's the only option.
Yep, absolutely. I love that. I think a lot of people definitely feel that, and it's really good and reassuring to hear messages like that where it's like, yeah, you know, no one's going to do it for you. You just got to start. Sometimes what you don't want gets so loud that you don't have a choice and you get pushed into it. And that's, you know, however it happens is fantastic. It's just a matter of getting you know, starting to take that action. So No, you go for it. Go for it.
I was just going to say with that as well too. I think the more that you do this and the more that you show up and take that messy action, that's how you build confidence. Action builds confidence. Inaction is where you feel that lack of confidence, right? It's like you're always just like nobody knows how they're. I'm fucking winging it every single day, even though I look like I got my shit together. We're just like we're winging it too.
But that's so true. It's such a good point. Like it is, you sort of drown yourself in your lack of confidence because you don't have the proof yet to go, I can do that. But you're never going to get the proof until you start. And that's what I say to people a lot as well. It's like you do the action, you witness some progress, you go, oh my gosh. And then your confidence starts to build. And then you got more confidence to take more action to get more progress. And it's just this boop, 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 like this amazing staircase that just unfolds. So when it comes to consistency early days, like was there anything, and this is probably more so a tip for other people who are thinking about jumping in for themselves. I love that you have a varied schedule and you go more by feel at this point. Was there anything, or is there anything you would recommend for other people to be consistent with when they're early on, like really starting to step into what lights them up?
I would just say dedicate, like finding the pockets of time that you can realistically dedicate to what it is that you're doing. Because I think one of the biggest downfalls is we base our consistency on having our best day. And then that becomes the goal. And then every day that we don't hit that, we're like, oh, well, I fucked up, or I should have gotten more done, or why didn't I do this, and da-da-da-da, and shame spiral, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like being realistic with the time that you have to build your dream right now, knowing that that gets to change with seasons, that gets to change as you move into your business, that gets to change as you, whatever that looks like, right? But it's just like, what can you realistically commit to now that you can be consistent with? And then allowing that to be enough. Because as long as you're telling yourself, well, I should have more time for this, I should, like, stop shitting all over yourself. You're not doing yourself any favors. And it's like, this is the time that I have now, and I trust that more will open up to me the more that I dedicate to this, right? Because, and I'm going to be honest, the beginning's messy. It is so messy. And you're going to take messy inspired action. And the longer that you're in it, the more systems that you build, the more strategy, and the more you streamline your business. So it actually does get easier. It absolutely does. And that's why you hear so often that people like, the less I work, the more money I make, because you get more efficient with the time that you do have.
Yeah, but it is so important to remember that it's messy at the start. Like I've labeled my first phase, which I'm still in, my clunky phase. And that was one of the things that allowed me to go, yes, let's do it. I'm in my clunky phase, and I know that I'm going to look back at this phase and go, like I looked back at old Sarah, who thought that she could be an ascended master in a few years. I'm going to look back and go, look how cute this little girl is in her clunky phase. She was doing it. And I love that. So last one is clarity. So how did you sort of go when it came to clarity around like crystallizing the vision of what you're trying to move towards? Someone's falling down in your house.
No, I'm so sorry. My husband let dogs out. I told him, I'm like, I'm podcasting, and of course he puts the dogs out on the
it's all good.
On the balcony right above us. I'm like, oh my God, they're both up there right now. I'm just like, please. Like, I was gonna ask if you could hear it. I'm like, of course you can.
It's so good. It's part of the experience. I love it. I love it. It's real.
I mitigated everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. Clarity. So what I would say is it comes down to having clarity on the vision and your version of success that you want to create. And I think you touched on this before as well too, is like we're shown what success looks like for other people every single day. And this is actually one thing that I put on every single intake for all of my programs is, what does success look like to you? Because as long as you are chasing another version or another person's version of success, that's why you don't have the success that you desire yet. Yeah. And lots of the times too, you will be so surprised at what success looks like to you. And it's like, it would be the equivalent of saying you want to go somewhere without actually knowing the destination. You're just like fucking winging it, right?
Yeah.
So you really need to be so clear on what it is that you want to create so that you can start creating it. And that's like the road that you get to travel on. And I think too often we end up veering off to the sides or getting off course or off track because we're taking on somebody else's version of success. And it's not to say don't allow what other people are doing. Like, allow it to inspire you, but make sure in your heart and in your soul that that's what you want for you, and not because you're being conditioned to think that that's what success looks like.
Yes, that's so beautiful. Thank you for that. And I also love in your previous answer stop shooting all over yourselves. I love that. As soon as I heard you say that the first time on socials, I was like, that's it. I've been shooting all over myself. It sounds so funny. Amazing, hun. Okay, so the final three. So we often look, as we're talking about now, we often look at other people and look at, you know, what inspires us about them or what we like about their life or whatever it is. What are 3 qualities that you really like about yourself?
I think that I'm super goofy. I actually am. You don't see enough of that, but I am so goofy.
I love
And
that.
then I'm also, I don't know how you would put it, but like very nurturing, but I'm going to tell you like it is, but it's going to feel like it's going to
Strong
come from a loving
hand.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm never going to sugarcoat things or like I'm going to fucking tell you like what it is, but it's going to come from a loving, caring, and compassionate place. And I also think that because of all of the work that I've done with EFT and everything, like I can hold an immense amount of space. Like nothing is too much for me. And if it does feel like too much, I have the ways to resource myself. So like bring me all your stuff. You're not dumping it on me, but I'm here to hold it with you.
That's beautiful. And I also love that you didn't have to think about that too much. That's such a healed person, being able to, you know, because a lot of people struggle with that question. They're like, oh my God, I don't know. And it's like, no.
I felt like I had to think about it. I was like, wait, what are they?
That's fantastic.
No, but I'm actually way funnier and goofier than I let people see. And it's just, it's that weird thing of like, okay, well, how do I show this side of me? Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many sides still, I feel, that people don't even know about me either. It's so weird when I think about that. I'm like, you know, from me talking to you right now and then to picking up a camera and doing a selfie video, something changes. Something just goes out the window. It goes, nope, professional. It's like, meh. Anyway, we're getting there. It's happening. Something's shifting. So what is your definition of living in your purpose?
I think it's just living and creating a life that you're obsessed with. I think like we've talked about, like by age 35, you're going through the motions, but so it's like, how can you challenge yourself and how can you get to the end of each day, no matter what it's like, to be like, oh, it's almost going to make me cry. It's like, this was a day worth living.
That's beautiful.
It's interesting. I don't know why that's bringing up so much emotion, but that's like that's when you know that you're doing it right. Yeah. And it's not saying that days aren't going to be challenging, but you can look and be like, yeah, we really lived this day.
Well, I think also, as you shared with us, you recognized at one point in your life that you weren't living that existence. You felt like you were wasting your time and, you know, your time in this life. So now you can see that you really are fulfilling every part of you. Like you're satiated and you've done that yourself. You've built it yourself. So I'm not surprised that you're getting emotional. It's beautiful. I love when people check in and recognize themselves, and I love when the dogs come in to say yay as well.
Okay, maybe that's it. I'm so sorry.
Don't be, it's fine. Honestly, that's life. I love it. So final question. So this is for anyone who is, and obviously we've tapped onto this in various ways, but for anyone who is at that point that you were at when you were talking to your mum on the phone in your car going, if this is all there is for me, then, you know, I'm wasting my time. What would the advice be to them if you could crystallize it into one thing to just focus on to start with, or anything? What would you say to them?
This was the one that's got me stumped. It's not, because there's so many things that are coming through, but it's like, you can do it. Like so often, like the one thing that I said to myself is, and I remember journaling this, it's like, I wish that I could believe in myself the way that everybody else does.
Yeah.
You can. That belief you see for everyone else, the way that you support everyone else, if you put a fraction of what you pour into everybody else into your dream, it's already done. Mm-hmm. The fact that you have that dream is because it's destined for you. It's just taking the action to go and get there.
I think that is so spot on. It's already meant for you. That's why you're having that dream. It's just a matter of you, taking that action. Thank you so much. I think that's beautiful advice. Oh my gosh, this has been so fun, Jess. So how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way? What's going on in your world right now?
Instagram is the way. I love Instagram. So I am
Same.
I am JESS KWASNY. You can find me there. I'm in my DMs all the time. I will talk to you. I love to talk to you, but I'm not going to cold DM you, so I can promise you that. But, yeah. And then when's this being released? I don't know if I can talk about what's coming up.
Yeah, true. So this
Have some
should
people
be
in the works.
later in April. This will be like, so you can?
Okay,
Oh,
I
oh,
can talk about it. So
oh.
we are reviving the podcast and coming out actually April 6th. It's going to be launched. It will be my podcast, Rebels by Nature.
Amazing.
So you can find me there on everywhere where podcasting is. That's so cool. I'm like, wait, will it be out yet? And it will be.
Yes, we're jumping into the future right now. I love it. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to see your podcast come out, and I will put all of Jess's info in the show notes anyway for anyone who wants to get in touch. But thank you so, so much, my love. I really appreciate your wisdom. I'm so happy to see how much you've created for yourself, and you're just surrendering. Like that's the ultimate power, to just be, just trust and have faith, and you're doing all of those things.